Hey guys, it's James Wilson Taylor here for Rock Sound. It is the latest of our video calls. We've been chatting to everybody while we're all stuck at home at the minute, and I'm delighted to say we've got Icon for Hire on the line now. How are you guys?
Good. As good as we can be.
Yeah, we're doing all right, hanging in there.
Good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, we'll start this off. We've started them all off in the same way, which is basically to say, hope you guys are staying safe, you're staying well, keeping sane and all the madness at the minute. How has this downtime kind of been for you guys? I mean, we were just saying before we started there, you were basically in the middle of a tour when this all kicked in, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So when we were, we had left and we went to Russia, and I heard something about something going on somewhere in the world, and I was like, okay, cool. But by the time, within a week time from going from Moscow to like St. Petersburg, the world was just insanity.
It just got crazier and crazier the longer we were there. We're like, we think we can finish the tour. We can, but no, we had to cancel the last couple shows, which was sad. It was our first time going to be performing in Italy. Obviously, Italy was like a huge lockdown at the time, so that didn't happen. So we just headed home and landed to the Trump notifications of the border closing. So
yeah,
lovely stuff. There we go. Wow, timing is everything.
Yeah, we got into BNA in Nashville. Everybody flipped their phones on, turned off airplane mode, and it said U.S. borders are closed. We were like, wow. They were like alerts on the phone. Yeah. So we were like, wow.
I mean, you nailed the timing. We'll give you that. You nailed the timing right there. Nicely done. Well, this is always exciting, though. I'm loving chatting to people at the minute where you've had a chance, you've had that time and been able to work on some new music. And as at the time of recording, the album's kind of imminent. It's next month. It's just kind of on the way now. Tell me a little bit about when this was actually worked on then. Did you have songs in the locker kind of ready to go, or has this been a lockdown project for you?
Yeah, we would have released music anyway. So we were in Europe writing, you especially, you were writing every day, annoying the hell out of me, in the backseat, just playing guitar nonstop. But yeah, we had been planning on writing and recording an album when we got back regardless. But luckily, the producer we wanted to work with had no openings, but then COVID happened and he had a ton of openings.
So all of his clients canceled. We were like, hey, do you want to like quarantine together?
Do you want to merge quarantine? So we did, and then we suddenly were able to actually work on our album sooner than planned. And then now new music, is dropping in February, and we feel stoked. We feel like the timing worked out because we did get some of the touring out of our system. We still miss touring, but it's not like we had been, at home working on an album for 9 months prior, like some of our friends who must miss the road so bad.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the interesting things there, though, is that I've chatted to so many people over these last few months where they've been working on new records and it's been over Zoom like this. It's been, little sessions that are distant and stuff. Quarantining with your producer. Now, that's a new one. I've not heard people doing that before. Talk to me about that experience. That's got to be ideal, right?
Well, yeah, there was a mutual kind of respect and honesty with like, are you sure your kids aren't going over to the other kids' houses and play? But we were like, yes. And we were like, we have not gone anywhere. And there was like,
because he's got kids, so his kids were home from school. So we didn't actually like move in together, but we both had our, bubbles. So they weren't going anywhere. We weren't going anywhere. We took it very seriously. I Lysoled this, so it's this studio right now. I Lysoled it a million times. We didn't get sick, and so it worked out. But yes, a lot of Zoom guitar player sessions, Zoom mixing, which was really hard. Don't recommend. So, I mean, it's fun to be able to work this way, but it's also got its challenges.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, all fair play to you guys for being able to kind of finish the record under those circumstances and everything. And let's talk about a couple of tracks in there. So the latest single, I guess, that everyone's kind of just heard is Last One Standing. And the press statement that came out at the time, I remember reading you were saying how it's an empowering anthem. It's about going in your own way, finding your own direction, everything. Another one of these songs I find that just takes on a new meaning in these times, right? It really does feel like that's a real spirit of the moment. Talk to me about how that particular track came together, and I guess a little bit more about that kind of lyrical meaning behind it too.
Yeah, that was actually our first shot with this producer we're working with, who's actually a guy from Sweden, and I'm Swedish, so I like having that connection. And we just kind of went in with this basic idea, and Shawn does a lot of our pre-production, if you want to talk about that.
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Go on the lyrics.
Okay, so lyrically, it just kind of was one of those things that just like fell from the sky into my brain, which happens sometimes when I get lucky. And then we were just able to work it out literally in one day. It was our first day working with this guy, and we're like, this is awesome. It's probably one of our favorites off the record. But yeah, lyrically, I developed it more after COVID happened. So I did have some of that in mind, like that feeling like, freaking this isn't going to get me. And it speaks also to our longevity as a band. We've been around a lot longer than people thought we would. So there's that little part too.
Yeah, that's always nice to have a little middle finger to the critics there as well. Yeah, you're still here. That's all good. That's a nice anthem for the first song. And, speaking to that as well, I guess it's been about 4 years or so since the last record, right? I think it was 26, was it 20? Yeah, it's a little while back. And that was, of course, independently released as well. You did the whole crowdfunding campaign around it and everything. A big, bold step for you guys that you definitely pulled off. What were the learning points on that then, when you're going into this record to kind of try and do it all again, write it all up again? What did you take from that experience that's pushed into this new record too?
I mean,
I would say the trusting our fan base.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, trusting our fan base and trusting our intuition. Of like, there's so many people that we have set in so many offices where like, you know, the people would be like, well, we don't know what to do with this record. Good luck. You know what I'm saying? But to be able to do that and then continue independently and just your fans are there and your little tribe of people, whether it's like 100 or 1,000 people, is way more powerful. So it really opened our eyes to being like, man, shit. Because in my heart, when I was dreaming, I want to be Motley Crue. You know, I don't want to be like, I want to be in arenas like Slipknot, like my favorite bands. But then at the same time, it's like, I'm okay with releasing my records and having my fans pay for it and being able to make a mortgage payment is amazing. Yeah, at this, it's fucking rock and roll. I mean, that's
the dream these days.
My perception has shifted so much, and in a good way, and a good wholesome way, but also just in a good way that I can create music because we've created this. I see this small little powerful tribe of,
but they're getting bigger.
But it's getting bigger. It's like noticeably growing. So that's what I learned.
It feels like you were sort of ahead of the curve in it as well, because we've seen over in the last couple of years the amount of bands that started their own Patreons or they started their own kind of community and crowdfunding albums and all that kind of way. Even people that came out of the bigger major label systems going, you know what, it's great to be able to talk direct with the fans. I imagine that kind of prepared you for this new world we're finding ourselves in quite well, I suppose.
It set us up super well because we do have friends who now are texting me going like, how did you do Patreon?
Yeah, sure.
About Kickstarter. And I'm like, I love it. I love that bands are kind of taking control, that they're not going to be as beholden to their labels' expectations or budgets or restrictions. That's awesome. Like, power to the people, power to the band. You know, but we did learn a lot in that first album we did independently. We didn't know if our fans would have our back. We didn't know if it would work. It did work. And that's why we did go a similar model this time with this album. Honestly, we did another Kickstarter because our fans wanted us to, because we were able to turn.
They came up with like the tiers.
Rewards.
They came up with the rewards. So it was like,
yeah.
Okay, if you guys want us to make cookies and overnight them to you, we will.
We will do it.
If you want me to get a dog, I guess I will, which I'm getting in like 4 days anyway.
Yeah, one of the like, it's like, if we were to hit a certain point, we'd get Shawn his dog he's been wanting forever.
Yeah, so I get my puppy in 4 days. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, I mean, talk to me about the puppy now. I mean, what breed are we talking? Do we have names picked out? What's going on?
Oh yeah, absolutely, the whole works. So she's from Sweden.
Yeah.
So we love this too. So I named her Flika, which is girl in Swedish. So it's Flika, and then the dog. I was trying to think like, because we tour so much, I don't necessarily, I feel like it's going to be like the mascot of the band. So this dog, my best friend has the same breed. So it doesn't shed, it doesn't bark, it cleans itself like a cat.
It's a cat, basically.
it's an African Basenji.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So it's an interesting dog. It's very independent. So that's very concerning. But it's like this big. It's like this big.
Hey, perfect for a tour mascot, like you say. That's going to work out nicely on the road. Yeah.
Put her in a purse and just have her in the VIP line, and
have her manning the merch table. I mean, come on, just set up at the back. It's going to be absolutely fine. Put them to work. Well. I mean, speaking of tour plans, obviously everything's up in the air right now. I mean, who knows when show's going to get back? Touch wood, it'll be sooner rather than later, but we just don't know at the minute. But you guys must have already been thinking when you've been working all these new songs. You must have a plan in your head of how that new live show is going to work. You must have dream set lists and everything, right?
Yes, and absolutely, and that's an interesting point, because when we were in Europe, I was really thinking hard on how do we capture, because Icon for Hire live is not the same you hear on the record. She's way more intense. She's all over the place with personality. There's guitars and the guitar slides and drum fills that we just never been able to capture, and everything in the past, maybe it was because there were so many hands involved, or emails being sent that we weren't attached to, from people. So the goal is that we were going to capture the live aspects of Icon for Hire. So this is what I did. And on the Europe and the Russia tour, I had a studio set up in the green room, which sometimes was a hallway and sometimes a bathroom.
Yeah.
I think these small clubs were playing, and I would run off stage and I would literally start tracking guitars, and I would start tracking drums, and I would go, okay, this needs to be here. This is what the fans did here. They love this moment. So this entire Amorphous album is set to play live. Like, we cannot wait to play it live.
It's got to happen.
Because we were thinking live before we went in, and now, I mean, we're in the studio now working on new material to do more live stuff. So I hope when the shows come back, it's gonna be like, who the fuck are these guys? Because I've seen them plenty of times, but this is a new band, you know.
That's exciting. That's a very, very exciting place to be for sure. And I was going to ask as well, you know, like I say, so many people we've spoken to already setting up what they want to do next musically, because, hey, if you're at home, why not? You've got a very nice studio set up where you are right now. Talk to me a little bit about that. Is it almost like a sister project to the album we're about to hear, or are you playing in all new territory? What's going on?
Yeah, we don't really have a release time. Yeah, go ahead if you want to talk about that. We're just doing what we want to do. So now that we've got...
That's great.
So that we love, that we, you know, we've got like a drummer here in town that we really enjoy working with, like kind of our core music making team together. We're inspired, so we're continuing to make music.
Yeah.
And we want to make music. So.
And any horror story you've ever heard of the creation of a project and mixing, that happened to us during Amorphous. So these 3 songs we're working on now are fucking heavy, and they're mean, and they're mad, and they're angst, and they're just like, I feel like COVID bundled up and put in these songs because of what everyone's been through. I mean, it's probably the heaviest stuff we've ever written, right?
I think so. I think we used to like think a lot about like how are people going to take this. Now we aren't really overthinking it. We're just going for it. We're going to find out together. If
we're
like
trusting ourselves more.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. Again, very, very positive place to be. And before that, of course, you know, let's mention with Amorphous again. This record, you guys seem hyped up for it. Like you say, you've been able to take control. It's very exciting that it's built to play live. That's very, very cool for when that does come. I guess my question with it is, what do you hope that this community of fans that you built do take away from this record? Because again, you seem to be in a very, very good place in terms of the actual creativity behind it.
I'm glad you think so. I really hope that they love it and resonate with it, and that they feel it on a new level that they haven't felt our music previously. You know, our drummer left the band to go live like a normal adult life before our last record, and so we didn't have live drums in that album. And I think that probably hurt us, but we didn't have a drummer, so what could we do?
Right.
You know, this time we did really focus on that live feel. So I hope that it, you know, does what all of us hope when we listen to our favorite bands, and it just makes you be like, oh my God, yes, we want that feeling from our fans. And I also hope on a lyrical level that it helps our fans feel a little bit less alone during such an isolating time.
Yeah, no, definitely a good thing to have there. Last question then for you guys. Aims moving forward, man. 2021's so up in the air. Have you guys thought about how to keep that connection going in terms of, I guess, online things like this? Or is there any kind of fan activity planned, for want of a better phrase, around this whole release and then moving forward?
Yeah, for sure. We're doing a virtual live release show. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah. We're just gonna do like what a lot of other bands are doing right now, and I really feel like because of the way the industry has been squeezing artists, that there's been a lot of innovation being done right now. That's gonna help independents out, especially before the majors get in and do their thing. Like a lot of times it happens. But I really love where it's going, and I think we're probably going to be doing tons of live streams with full production and you know, GoPros on the guitars and stuff, and people are going to be able to zoom in, where we're going to have like maybe screens on the stage where fans can be right up in front.
So we can see them too.
Yeah, and like I think there's going to be a lot of innovation that comes out of this, and a lot of awesome creativity that connects and bridges the fan the fan artist engagement even more than we ever have seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that has been one of the coolest things, I think, over the last 12 months is everyone's been doing live streams, because of course they have, but they've all been so radically different. I mean, every single one I've watched has had an own approach to their own fan base and do it in completely different ways. Are there any that you guys have watched over the last year, you particularly gone, ooh, I like what they did there. Ooh, maybe we'll think about that over there. Any little favorites over these last few months?
I've got 2 favorites. I think Under Oath was one of my favorites. I'm not a huge fan,
yeah, it was cool.
I really like how they did album after album after album. Mm-hmm. Right away I was like, oh my God, I want to do that so bad. I just want to copy them. You know what I mean? But we'll do our own spin on that in some ways. I'd also I don't know.
I'll say I was on the Rock Sound Instagram the other day, and I saw a Set It Off's live performance, Black Veil Brides, and I loved how Black Veil Brides had like the overhead. Or maybe it was Set It Off. I don't remember. One of them had the overhead up here, and I'm like, that's really cool. You can look
that was a Set It Off show. They had the overhead cameras doing it. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I love those guys, so I won't give credit to Black Veil Brides, who are also great. But yeah, that was Set It Off. So I love the idea of fans getting to see these different angles and moments that a lot of stuff gets lost, you know, especially the kind of clubs we're playing. If you're in the back, you're not really seeing our facial expressions. You're not seeing our bantering back and forth. You're not getting that. You're just hearing like a wall of sound. Yeah. So I'm really excited for the fans to see this more up close level of the live show.
Yeah, it's a more level of intimacy, I suppose, isn't it? It's being able to let people in a new, cool way. No, it's exciting to see. Guys, congrats on the record. Good luck with all this release stuff and everything. And yeah, we just hope to see you in the UK whenever that's allowed. We hope sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, stay safe out there, guys, and we'll chat to you soon, all right?
Dude,
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you having us.
Great to see you guys. All right, I go for everybody.